Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has directed the immediate registration of FIRs against the Ansal Group over alleged fraudulent practices involving home buyers. Earlier, Ansal API allotted plots to hundreds of buyers in Sushant Golf City at Shaheed Path. This was done under UP's high-tech township policy, which goes back to 2003. The Ansal Group collected money from about 3,000 investors. The land was allotted to investors on paper, however, buyers were not given possession. In fact, those who bought plots, villas and flats are still waiting for possession decades later. Meanwhile, the National Company Law Appellate Tribunal has declared Ansal API bankrupt. This has put the investors' money in limbo. As per procedure, the tribunal has appointed an interim resolution professional to handle the company's projects. However, the tribunal has issued a unilateral order that without informing Lucknow Development Authority or Housing Department, no further steps to be taken. The buyers have thus submitted a memorandum to the MLA who raised the matter with Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. CM Yogi has now assured buyers of full protection and warned that strict action will be taken against those responsible for duping home buyers. The UP CM has further emphasized that legal action will follow and an appeal will also be filed against the tribunal's order. Taking this conversation forward, I have with me Mr. T.N. Shukla, who is a home buyer himself, Advocate Harsh Singh Dhaiya, Advocate R.K. Singh and Sumit Peer, political commentator with us. Let me begin this conversation with Mr. T.N. Shukla. Mr. T.N. Shukla, I want to understand from you, sir, as a home buyer, if you can just firstly clarify, did you also invest in one of the Ansal API projects?
Yes, I booked in December 2008. Two units were booked, and the entire payment was made. And the first thing, जो units जहाँ बननी थी, actually वो बनी भी नहीं. और उसके बाद अभी तक हमको लटकाते रहे और all amount were paid.
तो शुक्ला जी एक मिनट आपसे समझना चाहेंगे, आप कह रहे हैं 2008 में आपने 2 यूनिट्स अंसल एपीआई के बुक करे थे, सही?
Yes.
और कितने पैसे लिए गए थे और कैसे आप मनी ट्रांसफर हुआ था? क्या एक ही गो में पैसे लिए गए थे या डिफरेंट ट्रांचेस में पैसे लिए गए थे और कितना पैसा गया है आपका?
हाँ, तो ये 10 lakhs 20 मतलब 20 lakhs. और उसके बाद उन्होंने क्या किया, वो भी नहीं बने, वो बनाए ही नहीं. फिर उसके बाद कहा हम आपको दूसरा देंगे, तो 757 स्क्वायर फीट का जो स्क्वायर एरिया था उसको रिड्यूस कर दिया और कहा कि अब वो एलडीए ने हमको अलाउ नहीं किया. और उसके बाद अभी क्या किया, उन्होंने दूसरा हमको दिया और उसका वहां पे पैसा भी लिया. वहां का जो अंसल के जो स्टाफ था, उन्होंने दूसरे बॉन्ड बनाने के लिए जो आवंटन पत्र था, जो वो दूसरे बनाने के लिए उसके उन्होंने अनऑफिशियली हमसे पैसा लिया. और अभी मार्च में दे वर गोइंग टू, बोले कि टावर बन गया है और यू विल गेट इट इन मार्च, और बोले कि आपको पोजीशन मिल जाएगा, रजिस्ट्री हो जाएगी, लेकिन वो भी नहीं मिला. स्टिल वी आर, और मार्च में बोला था, इसी मार्च में.
तो शुक्ला जी आपसे समझना चाहूंगी, 2008 से ये किस्सा शुरू हुआ, आज 2025 में है, तो इसके बीच में आपने क्या कदम उठाए या क्या आपसे कम्युनिकेशन रही अंसल एपीआई की? क्या आपने अपनी तरफ से कोई एफआईआर लॉन्च करी, अपनी तरफ से कोई लॉयर हायर करा इस मैटर के लिए? किसी और होम बायर से आप मिले जिन्होंने जो सेम स्थिति में थे?
यस मैम, वन लेटर वाज मूव्ड to Rajnath Singh, Raksha Mantri, because I am the defense personnel, I am retired from defense personnel. Then Rajnath के थ्रू मैंने एप्लीकेशन एक दिया था अंसल के लिए, एंड दूसरा
शुक्ला जी एक मिनट आपकी वीडियो कट गई है, तो मेरा क्रू ऊपर आपको ले नहीं पा रहा है टीवी पर.
अच्छा लीजिए,
बहुत धन्यवाद जी.
हाँ, तो मैंने वो राजनाथ सिंह को एक लेटर दिया था रिगार्डिंग दिस, और उन्होंने भी इसको भेजा था, एंड कमिश्नर को भी मैंने दिया था. और इसके अलावा मैंने फ्रीक्वेंटली उनको चिट्ठी मैं लिखता रहा हूँ. 19 को भी लिखा और मेरे पास सारे प्रूफ्स हैं जो मैं उनको चिट्ठी लिखता रहा. और वो डॉज देते रहे, कभी आगे कभी पीछे, कभी कोई ऐसा करके करते रहे. और मैं
शुक्ला जी एक मिनट रुक जाइए, आई थिंक वी आर हैविंग सम टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम, वी आर गोइंग टू स्लिप इनटू अ वेरी क्विक ब्रेक.
Okay.
Can we continue? Can I get a signal that we can continue? May I continue the conversation? Mr. Shukla, go ahead, sir, please.
और क्या होता था, मैं जब कभी वहां जाता था तो मैं देखता था रोज ही वहां लड़ाई होती थी, रोज ही कोई ना कोई लड़ाई होती थी। ये तो वहां का था। और अभी तो हम लोगों ने सुना था कि वो भाग जाने वाले हैं, इंडिया ही छोड़ देंगे। इस तरह की न्यूज आती थी कि पूरी फैमिली इंडिया छोड़ के चली जाएगी। तो कल हमारे मुख्यमंत्री ने और क्षेत्रीय विधायक ने इंटरवीन किया है। अब देखो क्या होता है।
8 के बाद मिस्टर शुक्ला, 2008 के बाद अब जाकर 2025 में आप कह रहे हैं कि किसी ने आपकी गवर्नमेंट लेवल पर अब मदद करने का अभी भी कहा है, प्रॉमिस हैज बीन मेड, बट अभी भी आपको कोई क्लैरिटी दी गई है कि इसमें अगले स्टेप्स क्या होंगे?
नो क्लैरिटी, वो बस हम लोग अंधेरे में हैं। और मुख्यमंत्री जो योगी आदित्यनाथ हैं वो इसमें इंटरवीन किए हैं, लेकिन अभी कोई विश्वास नहीं है। और मुख्यमंत्री ने तो ये भी बोला है कि एलडीए को बीच में इन्वॉल्व करेंगे, सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाएंगे, उधर जाएंगे, इधर जाएंगे। बट कल बैठक हुई थी, हम लोग करीब 2000 लोग वहां मीटिंग में थे अंसल के ऑफिस में। उनका ऑफिस तो बंद है, बट उनके प्रेमिसेस में वी मेड ए बिग मीटिंग ओवर देयर एंड द नंबर ऑफ रिपोर्टर्स वर देयर एंड दे आर रिपोर्टिंग ऑन पेपर्स, एनबीटी एंड अदर्स।
Okay, all right.
Bhaskar and others.
Okay, Sumit, I want to bring you to the conversation here quickly. Sumit, here's a person who's from a defense background, has probably put together that money with a lot of pains, as do all other home buyers, and has put it into a project that has not reached its fruition for the past, now it's going to be almost 2 decades. We're in 2025, another couple of years, and it'll be 2 decades since that money is stuck and they have not been given possession. What is it? What laws or loopholes are being abused by developers in India, or what happens that this is not the only case? I mean, every day we hear of some developer which has filed for bankruptcy, because what they do is they'll take money from a set of home buyers, right? They're going to take that money, and instead of investing it into that project, they actually use that to invest in the second project, while they continue to take more and more money from people as they go. So it becomes almost like a domino effect, and then suddenly the developer realizes that, oops, we forgot to make any project, we've not managed to do anything, and suddenly we are now out of money and we file for bankruptcy. But the home buyer at the end of the day is sitting and saying, what am I supposed to do? I've been chasing you for the past 20 years now. I was expecting that this money would result in a home in my name, which is an extremely important possession and asset to have. Everyone today aspires to have their own home. So what loopholes are being misused or abused here? I'll come to the advocates in just a bit, but Sumit, before.
Devkaji, thanks for having me on your show. Well, it's first of all, it's a tale of apathy, because what we are seeing here happening on this show might not be in isolation. There might be a lot of such cases which are brewing in the nation and which possibly we are not aware of. But the only thing what has happened here is that for almost 2 decades you have been doing, tarikh pe tarikh. You have been just giving all promises and living by it, and you have been managing to evade the law. The challenge before RERA was in place. Now RERA is in today's place. You can go to the RERA website and see where the money has gone and how the money is behaving. But before RERA was in place, this was a tale of apathy for a lot of people. And ultimately, you have seen some of these builders where that 25 crore ki anguthi and disappear. We have seen the case in the prime of COVID when the family was wearing 100 crore jewels on them. So this is how the people are conned. Their money is taken today. After RERA, you have been able to control it to a great extent, but The challenge here is that there should be a time if it is not delivered, automatically FIR should get registered and automatically legal process should start. Because if you don't register the FIRs, if you don't start the legal process, nothing great is going to happen. Because even after 15 years, you go to NCLT will give you a verdict. They will have somebody kind of put in there. We don't know what is the value of the land. We know how much of land they have. We don't know what is the position of their balance sheet. We don't know what is the position vis-a-vis the bankers. Bankers have the first right. So there are a lot of complicated things which should be there. I think the best way out is, let's say you give project at time, 3 years. Worst case, even in 5 years it is not delivered, it should be automatically flagged. It should automatically go on to legal and automatic liquidation, confiscation of assets or whatever is required, it should go. Because if the period is 3 years, we have given you other 60-70% lease time, buffer time. Even within that you are not able to deliver. Now face the music. Now let the people come in, let the law come in, and it should be automatic. It should not be that Mr. Shukla should be able to go and register FIR. And even to be honest, against such powerful people, getting FIRs registered and getting things done is not easy in India. And if you are rich and famous, you can appoint all kinds of lawyers. Sorry, with due respect to lawyers, and you can still made to evade the law. These people know how to evade the law. They are very smart in this. And it's such a apathy. After 17 years, we have a defense personnel here. He has put all his money. 18 saal ke baad bhi he is still contemplating where his money has gone. Even if you go by a normal rate of fixed deposit, his money would have been 4 times by today or 5 times by today. So it's not a question of 20 lakhs. What would be the value of 20 lakhs in a simple FD today? And what is the value of the property he is getting? And is he supposed to go through all the pain and apathy? That is the question. So shouldn't there be an automatic mechanism which clicks in? Let's say 3 years is the time, after 5 years it clicks in and the things go there. And I think the state and the government of India should have rights to confiscate the assets of these people who are evading the law, who are using our legal system in a way to dupe people, to con people. It's a case where you are intentionally conning the people because you are dragging this for 17-18 years. You never had the intention to build this house. You never wanted to give them the plots. You will always find legal ways and loopholes how to delay it and have that legal barrier around you wherein you are not personally implicated. Unless until you take the implications to them, it will not stop. And Shuklaji makes an important point. The family, as per Mr. Shukla, was planning to leave India. So imagine if they have left India and ended in a tax haven. It's very, very difficult to recover money at that point of time. It's a lot of work.
Okay.
Compliments to Yogi Adityanath for taking it up. I think that is what other chief ministers should take a clue from and voluntarily come in and solve these issues, as there are a lot of them, unfortunately.
Okay, I want to bring in Advocate R.K. Singh into the conversation as well. Advocate R.K. Singh, the flip side is that once the legal proceedings do actually begin, then the developer comes and says, now I'm stuck in a loop of just FIRs, of court cases, of probably facing jail time. So how do I even deliver on a promised project? So that's number one. That's the first flip side. And secondly, as Sumit Peer was also pointing out, why is it that there is no mechanism today in India, which is such a rapidly developing country, wherein we want more and more people to come and develop high-end flats and high-end societies for people to buy and live in? Why is it that there's no mechanism to look at where a home buyer's money is actually going? This is not the first case wherein an FIR will be now lodged against the developer itself. But what is the conclusion of these cases? Nobody knows.
Thank you for inviting me. But before that, I must not say that there is no mechanism involved in it. There is definitely a very well-oiled mechanism. Now the bigger question is the mechanism delivering what exactly it is meant for? So the answer is big no. As the other lawyer has rightly said, there is a merry-go-round so far as the legal issues are concerned. Appeal and their appeal and their appeal. This appeal mechanism is making the entire statute frustrated, first. And secondly, today only Chief Minister Yogi has ordered for an FIR against Ansal Group. It's a very welcome step. Nobody can deny that. This is something very appreciable. But at the end of it, the gospel question which remains, this by bankruptcy proceedings or by lodging an FIR, how much an innocent customer is secured? The biggest question is, will he get the house? Will he get the money back? Will the money will be returned to interest? As of now, there is absolutely no clarity. Now look what happens. When a company goes bankrupt, what happens? The assets are calculated, they are put on sale. The secured creditors, like the bankers and other financial institutions, they have the first right. So suppose if a company is worth 60, 70,000 crore, 80% of the money will go to the secured creditors. And so far as the buyers are concerned, minuscule amount is left. It will not be enough even to distribute the principal amount, what to say about the interest. So these are the final financial consequences which the legislation has to address, which as of now, it is not getting addressed. And secondly, second most important fact, we have to understand one thing, as a very conscious society and a government which is committed to the welfare of the citizen, we must understand two things very clearly. By enacting a legislation, we are only addressing or identifying a problem. But is that legislation actually delivering for what the legislative intent was? That has to be audited time and again. This NCLT business has started from 2016, and we are close to 2025. In the last 10 years, what is the outcome? As of now, around 4,23,000 houses are stuck in different major housing projects. And I'll tell you a data. In Delhi NCR, especially Gurgaon and Noida, in Noida there are 30 companies, and in Gurgaon 23 companies. They are facing insolvency proceedings or rather bankruptcy proceedings. How far it will go? What are the time frame? Time frame in the act is fixed. But are the judges or the courts delivering the judgment on the time frame? Even if the judgment is delivered, are not they competent to go in for appeal? And what happens in that appeal? So these are the very worrisome questions which, as a lawyer, forget about me being a lawyer or no lawyer. If I'm a home buyer, that is definitely going to bother me. As the other gentleman, innocent gentleman, was talking about, these pains, the pain of a home buyer is much above the pain of any kind of solution. So these things we have to address it, and I'm really very sorry to say, I should not be rubbing salt on the wound, that our legislation is not addressing it, and courts are certainly not very conscious. They are conscious. I'm not saying that they're not conscious. They are conscious, but ultimately the results are not coming, and that is my grey area. Ji, please.
Okay, I want to bring in Advocate Harsh Singh Dhaya into the conversation as well. Advocate Harsh Singh Dhaya, your take on the same. The fact that today, after 17 years, is when the state government has stepped in and said that FIRs must be lodged only after the company tribunal said that, okay, this developer has now filed for bankruptcy. So how does one even recover in such a situation the money of the home buyers? Because it's not just one TN Shukla, there will be hundreds if not thousands of such people who invested their money over the years.
Devika, the core of the problem is that we need to understand, we need to point out that the real estate sector has become a well-oiled this money laundering scheme. As Mr. Raj rightly pointed out, that there are these developers and other agencies working in collusion, wherein they use these development projects as money laundering scheme. They take money from investors, they take money from banks, and they take money from home buyers as well, and then launder it to different countries, let's say Dubai or UK or some tax havens, and they happily shift to those countries. So first and foremost, ED needs to come in the picture. ED needs to investigate, which I was reading, ED had started some investigation on Ansal properties in 2023 as well. So that needs to come in. The Ansal directors need to face the music. And one good thing is that Mr. Yogi is a no-nonsense politician, and that can be seen from his latest action as well, wherein he has ordered for the registration of FIR. So I'm pretty confident that the government would step in and would take care of the home buyers and the investors most likely.
Yes, but the question still comes, as Advocate Harsh Singh Dhaya, what happens now to some of the people, to the directors, to the owners of Ansal API? Once the FIR process then begins and they've already filed for bankruptcy, what happens? Because the question of the home buyer is, how will I ever get my money?
See, Ansal is a tainted company. We should have no doubt about it. They are serial offenders. There are several cases pending against them. There are several undelivered projects that they have promised. What we need to see is that what action now the government would take. The only possibility that I feel wherein the investors will be able to get their money back is not through the insolvency process, because as it was rightly pointed out by Mr. Raj, that the first people who will get the money back from this insolvency process, that would be the creditors, that would be the financial creditors that have lended money to the organization. In this case, this was initiated by ILFS Financial Services Limited, and they were claiming that Ansal failed to pay 257 crores to ILFS Financial Services Limited. So they will be the first rightful the people who will be getting the money back, and here the right of the homeowners gets into fray, and that's where the government needs to step in. That's where the ED needs to come in. They need to have a clear look at where the money has been laundered, and they need to freeze the assets of the promoters and the directors and recover the money of these homeowners from them.
Okay, all right. Mr. T.N. Shukla wanted to make a point as well. Mr. Shukla, go ahead. Can we unmute Mr. T.N. Shukla, please? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
हाँ, अभी FIR, now you see, मैं FIR करूंगा 17 साल हो गए, अब मैं फर्दर FIR करूं, FIR करने के बाद अगेन कोर्ट और एंसल के चक्कर लगाऊं, तो क्या है, ये मिलेगा ही नहीं पैसा मुझे। मैंने पैसा भी मांगा था, तो वहां के जो दलाल थे, उस ऑफिस के जो लोग थे, वो लोग बोलते थे कि आपको पैसा भी नहीं मिलेगा, आप बेकार परेशान हैं, आपको मैं जो दे रहा हूं वो ले लीजिए, लेकिन वो भी नहीं हुआ। अब बताइए, हम लोग, हमारे जैसे कितने और भी लोग होंगे जो पुअर पीपुल्स हैं, जिनके प्लाट्स हैं, जिनके बड़े बड़े, वो कितनी महिलाएं आई थी जो रो रही थी, नंबर ऑफ लेडीज वर वीपिंग वर देयर, कितने बुजुर्ग थे। अब इसके लिए क्या किया? अब हमारे चीफ मिनिस्टर ने प्रयास किया है, मोदी जी ने, योगी जी ने, बट अब देखिए क्या होता है। आई विल लॉन्च द कंप्लेंट इन पुलिस थाना डे आफ्टर टुमारो, मैं कर दूंगा उसको, लेकिन क्या होता है, अब आप लोग प्रेस रिपोर्टर जो लोग हैं, देखिए क्या मदद करते हैं हमारी।
Okay, all right. We will of course continue to take this matter forward as more information unfolds. I've completely run out of time, but I thank all of our panelists for joining us to take this important discussion forward. With that, a short break.